Hello friends, how are you doing? Today is Tuesday, October 21st, and I am back with a cross-stitch update. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Olivia. So it has been a little while since I last recorded a video. I know originally I had planned to be back the beginning of October. Unfortunately, the time needed to record a video didn't really present itself until today. So I know this is a little late in the month. I mean, Halloween is a week from Friday, I think. So better late than never. I did, of course, change out all of my decor. The quilt in the background is Hocus Pocusville by Crabapple Hill Studios. I am not sure the availability on the pattern anymore. I do know that the designer retired last year, so I would imagine that you could probably find the pattern on the secondary market. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just dive right in, start talking about what I've been working on over the past month or so. I will say that my stitching has been pretty minimal all through October. I'm only averaging maybe 45 minutes a night, and that's about all I can handle. I am hoping that once November rolls around, I'll be able to spend a little bit more quality time on my stitching. The first project that I've been working on is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs, and I am stitching this with my friend Yvette. We started this back in, I think, September, and she's having me assign the assignments. And so once we finish the first one, which is just stitching this border here, she had me go ahead and assign the next one. I do need to assign this next one too. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. But once we finished with the border, I basically was like, let's just stitch straight across this way. So that is what we did. And I was able to work on it, and I got my assignment finished. And I just love working on this one. So I am stitching Away We Ride on a piece of 40 count Grandpa's Sleeve by XJU Designs, and I'm using the called for threads, stitching it 1/2. And it is so much fun to work on. I love it. And I'm trying to figure out if I should assign a larger portion or a smaller portion. I can't wait to get this one done and have it framed for next Halloween. So that's kind of the goal that I'm shooting for. The next project that I worked on is the Mary Bar Sampler by Stacy Nash, and I'm stitching this with my friends Yvette and Roberta of Disabled Stitchers. This is one where I'm also assigning the assignments, keeping it very, very chill. Especially this month, I just assigned one little thing, which was this basket right there. Super, super easy. I am stitching this one in memory of my paternal grandparents, Marianne and William. And I am going to be doing a little bit of personalizing. I definitely need to kind of get on that because the verse that I am substituting for the verse on the chart is a long one, but it's one that I definitely feel like needs to be stitched for the piece since it's for my grandparents. And here is the progress that I made. So again, very, very slow. So far, we've just had, I think, 2 motifs that we've worked on, and I probably will keep it pretty easy peasy until they let me know differently. And I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count Parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and I am using the called for thread, stitching it 1/2. I love working on this one, and this one's going to take a very, very long time to complete because she is a massive sampler, but I love her, love her, love her. And I'm excited to finally be stitching something for my grandparents. A lot of the personalizing that I'm going to do, again, is in the verse, but I'm also planning on putting the initials, so it'll have my grandparents' both of their dates of birth, dates of death, their date of marriage, and the initials of their children, their grandchildren, and their great-grandchildren, since everyone's done having children. So I do plan on, really personalizing this, and then that way future generations, when they see it, my hope is it will spark a conversation, and then they'll start researching their family tree and maybe find me. And then I'm currently working on Houses of Popcorn Hollow by Carriage Samplings, and I am also working on this one with my friend Yvette. We started this block right here, and just like with every block, we just kind of stitch halfway, and then we save the other half for the next month. So I just started working on mine last night, and I do hope to get it done by the end of the month. And then I do need to talk to her about this one, because I would imagine this one's just going to be kind of like a one and done once we get this block completed. There is a lot of stitching. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you've got like a full lawn, a giant house, and here is where I'm at. So it took me a couple of days to kind of get my act together and pull the needed threads. I pretty much stitched the box that goes all around it, and then I kind of worked a little bit on the grass, but other than that, I couldn't go any farther until I had pulled all of the colors. So I did finally manage to do that last night. I meant to do it for like 3 or 4 days, and I just kept completely forgetting. So I will work on this until I kind of hit that halfway point, and then, you know, hopefully there's still a little bit of October left to go, because there's another project that I want to start. So hopefully I don't procrastinate on this one too long. So I'm stitching this on a piece of 40 count Heritage by Picture This Plus, and I'm using a variety of DMC threads, stitching at 1/2. I love it. I love how it turns out. I'm already kind of thinking about frames and what I want it to look like, because I definitely want to get, once it's done, I do definitely want to get it in a frame and get it on the wall, because it's just so awesome. I had such a blast working on it. And once this one's done, then I will go back to working on the Shores of Popcorn Hollow. I do have some finishes to show, which I'm super excited about. I'm not going to tell you how long that finishing these took. They basically laid around for a couple of weeks in various stages of finishing progress before I finally made myself sit down and actively finish them. The first is one that I completed last year. I think it was in November at some point that I worked on this, and it's a Bowl Full of Scaries by Plum Street. I bought this, kitted up, and worked on it. I want to say I bought it for myself for my birthday in November. It came and I started it right away, and I finished it in a couple of days, and it's been hanging out with all of my other projects that need to be finished. And I finally decided to go for it, get it done, because November is right around the corner, and this one is absolutely perfect to make that transition between Halloween and Thanksgiving. So I love how it turned out. I stitched this on a piece of 36 count grandma slip by XJU Designs, and I used all of the called for threads, and I stitched it 1/2. I finished it off with a little bit of rickrack, and then added some vintage beads that were in my grandma's stash. I also just attached what was left of the rickrack to a safety pin, and I used a rusty bell. And I like it. I think it turned out really, really good. It's stuffed with polyester fiberfill, and the fabric on the back is some Civil War reproduction that I had in my stash. So I love it. I think it turned out really, really good, and I'm super happy that it is done and that I will be able to have it out this year for Thanksgiving. Although it's been kind of hanging out behind me since I did finish it. The next finish I have is Primitive Pumpkin by Teresa Miller. This came out of the book Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. I think I showed it. I got the stitching done last month and showed it, and then I got it fully finished a couple weeks ago. And here is what it looks like. So I just finished it into a little pillow. Again, I think this will make a good transition between Halloween and Thanksgiving. Of course, this piece will, like next year, will be in, yield trench bowl at the beginning of October, and then just stay there through November. I've been trying to work on stuff that kind of can go between the two holidays, because I do decorate for Thanksgiving. It's definitely more like a pumpkin theme than, turkey, although I do have some turkeys, but pretty much everything kind of goes towards pumpkins since they're my favorite. So I stitched Primitive Pumpkin on a piece of what I think is 36 count Cream Brulee. And the pumpkin, I stitched in Weeks Dye Works Sweet Potato. And the stem is in Weeks Dye Works Oscar. And then everything else is the called for. The reason why I did that is because the pumpkin and I think the stem maybe were in Valdani threads, and I was not going to buy a huge thing of Valdani when I could just go and pull something from my stash that works just as well. So for this one, I also used rickrack. All I did was hand stitch it down. I attached a faux rusty safety pin, and then I did use a rusty bell to attach to it. And the backing fabric is also Civil War reproduction from a stash. My next finish is Happy Jack by Tina Woltman, and this is one that I showed the stitching finished in my last video. It was also a stitch that was on my bucket list for a long time. Well, for a couple of years. This chart was out of print. It's kind of one I'd kicked myself for not picking up before Tina closed her shop. And when she reopened it at the beginning of this year, I jumped on it and purchased him. So here he is finished. I love him. Probably my favorite finish so far this year. What I did, very similar to the other ones. I used rickrack and I hand stitched it down. Backing fabric, once again, is Civil War reproduction from my stash. I decided to use another faux safety pin and use 2 vintage buttons from my grandma's stash. I did stitch Happy Jack on a piece of 36 count Oaken by Picture This Plus, and I used DMC Threads. The only change I did was to his mouth. Wanted him to kind of have that sort of vintagey, grinning look that you see in a lot of like 20s and 30s, 40s, I don't know what you want to call that. You'll see it in like photos and postcards and things like that, and with that vintage vibe to it. And so I used DMC 3852, and I love this so very much. I'm super happy to have it done. It's just kind of been hanging out right here since I finished it last week. I love it. I'm so super happy. I will put all the information for all of these down in the description box, and I will also put how you can get in touch with Tina if you want to order one of her patterns. She's got a lot of wonderful ones. She just released some fall ones that are just absolutely gorgeous. My last finish is one that I was able to get done this month. I believe I started it at the end of September and worked on it kind of on and off until I was finally able to get it done. It's another one that's been on my long list of things to stitch, and that is Hallow-Day Inn by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread. I had a blast working on this one. For mine, I decided to make it a little smaller. I think the original one is stitched on a piece of 32 count linen, and I did mine on a piece of 40 count. So I used my leftover piece of 40 count Vintage Meadow Rue by Lakeside, and that's what I stitched mine on. I love it. I am gonna frame this. I'm not sure that I will be able to frame it this year, but it's definitely one that I hope to get framed before next Halloween. I love how it turned out. I love it on this linen. I'm so super happy to, check another one off of my never-ending list of ones to be stitched. So for this one, I did use all of the called for threads, I believe. I might have substituted out 1 or 2, but unfortunately I did not keep track of what I used. I basically kind of kept it within the same color palette so that mine would look like the original. So I love it. And there's been a lot of people that have been working on this one this year, which I think is so fun. So very, very happy to have this one done. And on to the next one that I can then check off of my never-ending bucket list. So I knew when thinking about today's video that the possibility of this video being a short one was pretty high. Once again, my stitching has been very minimal and I've been busy doing a lot of other stuff on my days off. So I knew that when I was recording today's video, like I'm all done with the stitching. Like I've showed you everything that I've worked on, that's it. But I know that I had kind of promised that I would show some of my past finishes. So instead of disrupting all of them, because I'm kind of one of those people that when I decorate and then I come through and I rearrange and I'm always moving things around and I'm always tweaking everything and I'm always adding and taking away. And I finally got everything exactly how I like it. So I don't want to disrupt anything. So I think what I'll do is do like a video montage. I will show, I'm not going to do a home tour. So I hesitate to call it that. But I think what I will do is just show kind of how it's displayed. And then I will put in the name of the chart and the designer in the, with it. And then also recently I've had a lot of people ask how I hang and display my quilts. And it's a lot easier to show it in a photo than it is to talk about it. The only one that's like super easy to mention is the one hanging up behind me. This quilt is hanging from a curtain rod that I bought like 12 years ago from Walmart for like $12.84. But the other ones, they have specific ways that they are displayed, and it would just be easier to show them. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert it right now. Hope you guys don't mind. It's going to be set to music because I love to set everything to music. So I hope you will enjoy. Let me know what you think. I also am going to put the quilts in there too because I haven't worked on any quilts for myself at all. And I feel super bad about that because I have so many of them waiting for me and I just haven't really had the time. So I'm going to show the quilts too. And if I can remember the name, it'll be inserted with them. And again, if you have any questions, let me know. I have done a teeny tiny little bit of retail therapy, kind of been curbing my spending quite a lot over the past couple of months, just because every time the electric bill rolls around, I pretty much black out. So I've been like really careful about not really spending anything. Do I need anything? Nope. But it does feel good to get something in the mail other than a stupid bill. So let's see, in September, I don't remember what weekend it was. I don't know if it was like at the beginning of September. They had Needlework Marketplace. And so the designers were showing their new designs, all great designs. So many I wanted to buy, but again, I, told myself no, because you don't need any. But the Primitive Hair showed what she had been designing. And this particular piece, I fell hopelessly in love with it the moment I saw it. And it is called The Visit. And I love it. So on Instagram, she had posted like this little story about it, which I had hoped was going to be printed in the chart just because it's so awesome. But I loved how she kind of explained the vision behind it and just the whole story that went with it. I just flippin' loved it. So I pre-ordered this from my friend Christine, Hollis Hands Creates. Had to wait a little while for this to come because I know the Primitive Hair was waiting for some items to arrive to her so that way she could then send out all of the orders to the shops that had purchased from her. I wasn't in any hurry for it because I knew eventually it would come, and it's not like I could stitch it immediately anyway. So this is a project that once I finish working on my Hawker and Hollow, I'm going to work on this one. It's going to be a little bit out of the norm for me because I do tend to stitch on larger counts of linen. So I'm like 36, 40 count. That's kind of what I love to stitch on. And this one is stitched on a piece of Dark Spell, which is 30 count. It's the big cut of 30 count. And it has been a very, very, very long time since I have stitched on a 30 count linen. But I had to order the called for, and I ordered it from the Primitive Hair, and it came like super fast. She has a friend that lives, I think, in North or South Carolina that ships out a lot of her stuff stateside. So it came like weeks before the chart did, but I'm so super happy to have it, and I cannot wait to start stitching on it. I will probably just work on it until it's done. But again, I'm not used to stitching like with 2 threads. It's been years since I've stitched anything with 2 threads. So hopefully I won't drive myself batty because I've gotten used to the way my stitching looks on 36 and 40. And so I need to like remember how I used to get my stitches to lay working on like, 28, 30, 32. But I can't wait to start working on this. And I can't wait to get it done. I flippin' love it. If you haven't heard the story behind it or like her vision for it, definitely go on her Instagram, or I would imagine she probably also posted it on Facebook, but just the story behind it, just that whole like vibe, just painted such a nice mental picture. And I love it. So can't wait. So about a month ago, I went over to Central Oregon, kind of the Redmond Bend Sisters area for a couple of days. And on one of the days, we decided to go into Sisters. Sisters, Oregon is like my favorite place to visit. And I would love to be able to just kind of go and stay in Sisters for like a couple of days and explore the town, because I only feel like I get to see like bits and pieces of it when I go, and it's just such a wonderful mountain town. There is a quilt shop there. I think it's called the Stitch and Post. They're the ones that hold the big Sisters quilt show every year. And I've been a couple of times, and I would say that the very first year that I went was like the funnest. But then kind of once you go, although you still have fun, you never kind of capture that fun that you had the first time when it was all like new. So I've been a couple of times, but again, the first time that I went was probably the most fun I had had going to a quilt show in a really long time, because the whole vibe of the town is just amazing. Everybody's like super friendly and just happy, and you've just got this whole town full of quilters, which is amazing. And it's always funny because I go over there and I run into people that I know and I haven't seen in like forever. So it's a lot of fun. But I went into the shop, and they tend to carry a lot of like K faucet, which is not at all, I mean, it's not a fabric, he's not a designer that I gravitate towards. A lot of people do, but again, I'm more like rusty crusty. But they did have a small section of Civil War fabrics, which I did purchase a few, but then they also had this pattern, which is called the Civil War Cot. So I purchased the pattern, and on the way home, I got to thinking about it a little bit and like what I kind of wanted to do with the quilt. And I found this fabric, which I just absolutely fell in love with. The designer is Carrie Quinn and Katie Solberg of Peaceful Gathering Designs. And again, I got it from the Fat Quarter Shop. I just really liked it. It kind of reminded me of like, oh, what's that time period? Like the Tudors, kind of reminded me of like Tudor Christmas. So I decided to lean into that, and I'm gonna make a Christmas quilt using this as the fabric that's in between the patches. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to start working on it. I definitely am gonna stick with kind of like the same colors where you've got the gold, the green, the red, and just really lean into that whole vibe of the fabric line. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to start. I think it'll go really, really quickly. I think what's gonna take the most amount of time is gonna be the cutting, but once I get to piecing it all together, it'll just go super quick. So I'm excited. And I can't wait to start working on that. And of course, you know, Civil War cot quilts are just amazing because they're all, you know, done out of the scraps that people had lying around at the time and then sent off to a soldier to keep warm while, you know, it was the winter. So really excited to make one. The last purchase that I made was out of a Facebook group that I belong to. It's a Civil War reproduction group where people can sell their reproduction fabrics to the masses. And there was a listing on there for it's a half yard bundle. I think there's like 12 fabrics here, but it's from Joe Morton's Carolina Legacy line that just came out in the end of March, April. And that's the fabric line that I am terribly doing. I'm doing a terrible job of doing the block of the month from. But I knew I wanted to get some fabric from the fabric line to put in my stash. I don't have any plans for this other than to just stick it in the stash and then incorporate it into quilts as I go. But I wanted to get a bundle of it because the price was like super amazing. So I placed my order. And when it came with this note from Pam. Turns out Pam watches my videos, which is so super cool. And she included this most adorable sheep, which I absolutely love. I've been dying to get one of these. And so I was so super excited when it came. And because like I said, again, I've been wanting to get one of these for a very long time. I just love them so very much. She also included a thread strand separator, which I think I'm probably going to use this as an ornament because I think it just looks amazing. And then she also included some Lady Dot Creates onion skin velveteen. And I can't wait to use this on a future project. I've been wanting to get some of this to try it out for like a drum or the back of a pillow, probably mainly a drum. And so I'm really, really, really excited to be able to try. So thank you so very much, Pam. So very blessed that you sent those items to me. So thank you so very much. I did receive a package from Tina Woltman. She had contacted me, I think it was right before I uploaded my last video. And she wanted to send me some of her charts, which is so very generous of her. So she had me pick out some of the ones that I wanted, and quite honestly, I would take every single one of them. But I didn't want to be a glutton, so I picked out some of my favorites. The first one is Blackjack Pin Keep, and this is one I'm definitely going to stitch for next Halloween. A goal that I had set for myself this year was to stitch more seasonal smalls, and I have failed miserably. So I think I'm gonna try to just carry that over into next year. The next one is Merry Christmas, and this one I would like to try to stitch this year for Christmas. Years ago, when Freddie was just a little puppy, I stitched one of her other little Christmas designs, and I think the two of them would just be such awesome companions to put together in either the trench bowl, or I do have a new carpenter's tray that I picked up from an antique store that I'm super excited about, and you would have hopefully seen it in the video that I inserted, but I think this would be perfect to put in that one. The next one is The Birds of 1773. This one's a great, even year-round small to have, but definitely for November. I love it. So cute. The next one, I saw somebody finish this one a couple months ago, and I loved it. And they framed it. I think it's just so perfect. It's called The Old Oak Tree, and I just love it. It's so awesome. So I picked that one. And then this one, I knew I was gonna buy it. So it was one of the ones that I picked. And Tina told me that she designed this one and thought of me. And I was just like so blown away. I couldn't believe that. I just couldn't believe it. It just blew me away. It still blows me away that when she designed it, she was thinking of me, but it's called Hazel's Fall Flowers, and she's so beautiful. So I definitely have plans to stitch this one and get it done by Thanksgiving this year. I just love it. It's so awesome. And I'm just, again, so super honored that she thought of me when she designed this piece. So thank you so much, Tina. I'm going to put Tina's information down below. She is on Instagram, Facebook. I'll put a link to both. She creates albums with the photos in it. You pick out what you want and you send her an email listing the ones that you're interested in, and then she sends you a PayPal invoice, you pay it, and she sends it, and it's super easy. She ships out super quick. Love all of her patterns, can't say enough good things about them, and I'm so excited to work on these ones because I love them all. And again, thank you so very much, Tina. I did receive a couple packages from the Fat Quarter Shop. The first one was the Stitch Quarterly Club Kit that comes out 4 times a year. It is done seasonally. They always come in a project bag, so this one is autumn themed and so cute. It comes, of course, with the chart, which is Foxtrot. Very cute. They always include, so you get like a needle minder, all of the threads to stitch it, a needle, and this month has hand-dyed Ada. And then there's always like a little something extra, like some sort of a notion. It's usually like a stitching related notion. And for this month, they included the Cloud Stitching Board by Lori Holt. So I have one of these and I do use it and I love it. I have a lawn lap stand that I stitch with. And so this will lay on the wooden piece that's on my lap, and I can set scissors, kind of the grid that tells me the symbol grid, and also the other pages of the chart right on it. And then it's just quick and easy access. It's just all right there. So I definitely have been putting mine to use and I love it. So all of that came in the Stitch Quarterlies subscription, which comes out 4 times a year. Such a fun club to belong to. If you are interested in the club, I'll put a link down below in the description. Again, it's a lot of fun. projects aren't like overly big to where you couldn't finish them fairly quickly or within the season. So a lot of fun. Definitely go check it out if you're interested. And then they also sent me several patterns. The first one is a chart by Kim Deal called Completely Catty. It's part of the Pennyberry Farm series. And the Fat Quarter Shop sells these project bags. And so Kim Deal designed a cross stitch that you can then stitch onto the project bag, which is so super cute. And I love the fact that she is designing cross stitch. I hope she will keep going because she's one of my favorite quilt designers. And so I would love to see, you know, what she might create down the road. But this one looks like a lot of fun. And honestly, you would not have to stitch it on the bag if you didn't want to. You could definitely just pick a piece of linen, Ada, stitch it, and, you know, fully finish it however your heart desires. The next one is called Thread Star by Cassidy Grace, who I'm pretty positive is Lori Holt's daughter. I don't know for sure, but I think it's her daughter. Rows of Bows, also by Cassidy Grace. And then a book called Fat Quarters by the Dozen by It's So Emma. So I have not had a chance to look through this one yet, but I am a huge fan of fat quarter quilt books because I collect a lot of fat quarters, and sometimes I just want to find a pattern that just calls for all fat quarters. All I need to do is provide some sort of background fabric and off I go. So I'm definitely excited to look through that book. Once again, all these items are available now on the Fat Quarter Shop's website, and I will put a link to the Fat Quarter Shop below. And as always, thank you so very much to them for sending these items my way. Well, my friends, that brings me to the end of today's video. And if you've stuck around for this length of time, thank you so very much. I always so greatly appreciate those of you who take a little bit of time out of your day to hang out with me. The plan for me will be to hopefully be back in November. I can't make any promises, but I am going to try my best. Even if the video is only like 15 minutes long, I'm going to try my best to come back and try to get on a little bit better routine. I knew the moment I strayed away from doing my videos every other week, it was going to be a problem because that's just kind of how I roll. That sounds so bad, but that's just the way it goes in my world. There's always something that always kind of crops up and you know, conflicts. So eventually I do hope to get back on track again. But I am hoping to be back in November to, you know, show what I've been working on and then some of the, you know, Thanksgiving bits that I've stitched over the years. So if you liked the video today and you're new, I hope you'll come back and see what I have been working on. If you would like to see what I'm up to in between my videos, which I realized that I haven't posted anything on Instagram or Facebook in 21 days. So anyway, if you would maybe like to see what I've been working on in between my videos, you can follow me on Instagram on Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, or I do have a Facebook page called Pumpkin Hollow Quilting, and I will put a link to both of those down below in the description box. Once again, thank you so very much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you next time. Bye.